Let's check out this Xbox stuff, right? It's been we've waited so long. The interview is super interesting. That's what I keep hearing. Everything that people mention about this interview with Phil Spencer, mostly because Microsoft has in hold the most powerful franchise in video game history. It's called Killer Instinct. For anybody that doesn't know, Killer Instinct, a fighting game franchise that somehow from the ashes was born in the Xbox One era and managed to be as successful as it was, spawning 4 years of support and nearly 4 seasons of content. And they have done nothing with it. People are curious. Thanks to Kinda Funny for setting this up.
Right into it. And it's a tough way to start this episode. It's my birthday this week, and I didn't want to have to do it like this. But, Phil, it's been a tough week in the Xbox universe. As you know, of course, the CMA kind of blocking our acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, and Redfall coming out to poor reviews at the launch. Let's start off at the top. Phil, let's talk about the CMA and, of course, this Activision Blizzard acquisition. How are you feeling about this? What should be...
Yeah, he says our acquisition. Granted, it's an Xbox podcast, right? It's the Xcast. You got to give them it's our acquisition because they're fans and they want this to happen. You know, give them a break, right? In the same way that, like, we're talking about this from the fighting game front, right? Our game, which is KI, you know?
The overall mindset for Xbox gamers when we look at this after months and months of conversation.
Yeah, we remain confident. Obviously, the news from the CMA, which for those not tracking all this, is the United Kingdom's regulatory board on acquisitions to block the acquisition. We'll be appealing that. That's our plan. We continue to work with the European Union. We'll continue to work with the FTC. I think there are like 14 jurisdictions all up. We're working on approval. I think we have 9 approvals so far. But the CMA decision was disappointing. I've been talking to that group for coming up on a year. They've defined a market of cloud gaming that, in my mind, doesn't really exist yet today. But they have a point of view that maybe we have a lead in a market that is just forming, and that this content could somehow prohibit others from competing in that market. But we'll appeal. We stay on it. The company remains very,
it was a
very
goofy
committed.
decision.
We think
it was like based on the fact the appeal happened because they claimed that Microsoft would have a direct monopoly, something like that, on cloud gaming, and they were counting every single Xbox Game Pass user as a cloud gaming user. And it's like, what? No, that's not. What? So it was a very weird way that's the argument that actually ended up stopping it from happening.
Activision Blizzard King is not our strategy, but it is an accelerant for our strategy. So we're still heads down and working through regulatory.
I am pleased to hear that, of course, as a big fan of many of those gaming franchises over there. I'm looking forward to seeing this deal go through, and I'm glad to hear that you and the team are still hard at work at making this happen. It has been a long road. It's been a tough road to talk about it each and every single week, kind of falling apart. But
it's always the Brits, isn't it, Mike?
We're
always the fly in the ointment. We just got to rain on everyone's parade.
It's a tough one, Gary. Of course, we got to move on to the next one. Phil, of course, Redfall has released from Arcane Austin, and it's been a tough release week for that, coming out to low reviews and a lot of disappointment from many fans. Can you talk about that? What is your thoughts right now as we head into
Y1NJ, thank you, dude.
Game being out?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll start. I'll hit Redfall, but I'll just say all up. There's nothing that's more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community. I've been a part of it for a long time. I obviously work on Xbox, head of the business, have a lot of friends, get a lot of feedback. And just to kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm upset with myself. I kind of revisit our process. You know, I think back to the announcement of 60 frames per second, and then we weren't shipping 60 frames per second. That was kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully, a couple weeks ago. and then seeing the game come out and the critical response was not what we wanted. And it's disappointing. And so kind of pick myself up. What can we learn? How can we get better? One thing I'll fight is kind of what went wrong. There's clearly quality and execution things that we can do. But one thing I won't do is push against creative aspirations of our teams. Then a lot of people will say, hey, you've got teams know how to do one kind of game. Just force them to go do the one kind of game that they have a proven track record for. And I'm just not a believer in that. Maybe that means I'll underdeliver for some of our fans out there. But when a team like Rare wants to do Sea of Thieves, when a team like Obsidian wants to do Grounded, when Tango wants to go do Hi-Fi, when everybody probably thought they were doing Evil Within 3, I want to give the teams the creative platform to go and push their ability, push their aspirations. But I also need to have a great selection of games that are continue to come that surprise and delight our fans. And we
that's a really good response. I mean,
I apologize.
He's also right too. You know, the fact that you don't just rely on your laurels. You know, you just don't do the one thing that makes you do the thing. And right, but at the same time, there is demand for those things. People do still want those. So I don't know, like I sympathize with what he's saying, and I do agree to a certain extent that maybe the guys that do all these stealth games, you know, at Arcane, want to do something different. Maybe they want to do some weird, you know, co-op fucking Borderlands-y kind of Destiny type. I don't know, which seems odd. Always seems like an odd question. The issue at hand is essentially like how is this okay, right? At some point, you know, there had to have been feedback that how is this okay? Like this is not good. Something is clearly not working here. Like the gameplay loop isn't fun. To me, it just comes across as like, and it's not management on Phil's end. It comes across as like a lot of Xbox projects over the years have been clearly weirdly managed, where it feels like they might be way too hands-on or something. And when you the biggest red flag in that situation, and we're going to continue, is when you hear creative leads leaving positions in the industry, like a lot, or like lead creative people leaving like Fable, lead creative people leading Halo. That shit is quite literally due to them not being able to execute their ideas. Where we are unable to be creative, right? We can't do the things that we're trying to do. We keep getting stopped in some situation, right? We keep having to stop and do this other stuff and stop and do this thing. Like that ends up being like the oversight will interrupt that process so much people just fucking leave. Like I'm done, because and games are a creative outlook, right? When you're in that situation and you're responsible for creative, and you can't create, it is probably the most frustrating fucking thing in the world. You will like lose all the hair on your head type shit, knowing that you can't do the thing that you've had the idea for, that you know will be good, that you're like ready to execute on, and now you just can't do it. It probably has to be the most ridiculous shit in the world. They aren't just talented, but they were, man. These people were industry veterans. A lot of these people that have been doing this shit have been around for a long time. So I don't think that those people like piecing out and shit is because of that. Is it because no budget? Probably not. You know, most of the times games with low budget have to just fucking figure it out. And sometimes like low budget isn't really the end all be all. Like in fact, sometimes just throwing too much money at something could be a problem, because you have to figure out where to spend that money. You have to figure out where it goes, and then you get some weird management problems. It's odd, right? Sometimes there's better situations when it comes to lower budget stuff, and you have to figure out a solution. That is the Xbox 360 / Xbox Live Arcade era, where a ton of games were low budget as fuck in the XBLA era. And that's where I wanted to bring this conversation back to KI. That's exactly what Killer Instinct was. Killer Instinct was this like skeleton crew of 4 to 5 Microsoft people, right? And then they get another studio to make the game. And that studio largely executes on that idea, but then keeps going with their idea and feeds back to Microsoft, right? But that's the freedom that they had. You know, they had, it was a low budget as shit game. They were getting no money to do that stuff, but they were able to execute on these ideas and actually return something that looked good. That's important. And I don't feel like that really exists anymore. There's no more XBLA games with Microsoft. There's no more like these small little projects. People execute this cool little thing. You get a Limbo here, you know, you get some other games there. I don't know if that's really happening much anymore. It doesn't feel like it. Let's continue.
Not what I expect, not what I want. But, you know, it's ours to deliver.
So following up on that, Phil, so again, I appreciate the transparency on that, but there is a second component to this. And as you may or may not know, I talk to a lot of people in the Xbox community because I want to understand, you know, what people are excited about, what they're frustrated about, things like that. So kind of sticking on this conversation about Redfall, but it's kind of a bigger general question as well. And I kind of want to read directly from this so I make sure I get it crystal clear. So what goes into the decision to delay a game when you launch it feature incomplete or there's a bunch of technical issues? Obviously, we've seen recent examples around the industry. Redfall and Halo Infinite are two that stick out in my mind for Xbox. You know, we obviously have seen the review scores. Clearly, you know, we've had the opinion that the game should be delayed. We know every developer wants to ship the best game that they possibly can, but from your level, you know, what's the balance there on when to ship a game that may be feature incomplete or have some technical issues, or just simply give it more time and delay it?
So, and if Redfall's like another situation where they likely had some, once again, industry veterans working on the game, producing some of the best content they've ever produced, like in their lives on Redfall. But if you don't get like the right people to work with each other, it's just, things just won't line up. Once again, this is a creative process. This is something that takes years to figure out and execute an idea that everyone's on board for. And if you have like management at the top that's like not on board with that idea or has something else and they're trying to like change shit, that which happens all the time in this fucking industry, that's a problem. It isn't like you just throw people at something. We talked about this with Multiverses, right? Multiverses clearly needs more staff to produce the content that people want. But it's not as easy as just hire people. It's not that. This isn't an office job where people just run numbers on shit. You need talent, right? And you need the right talent working with the right people. You're fulfilling roles. So if these people are working with each other and they're executing good shit with each other, then you're going to get some great results. That is all management, right? That is all like producer level management that needs to get solved and figured out. And usually the heads of game development studios are pretty good at that because they've been doing this shit forever and they were there. And it kind of like feels like Microsoft just might not have that tenure, that maybe some shit that's going on higher up between these project managers are just not on board with a vision or some shit. Maybe they're not getting the right people together. I don't fucking know, man. But it happens so much at Microsoft that something's definitely going on. And then you get crazy shit like Hi-Fi, which is clearly something that was in development for a hell of a long time. People call that a AA game, but bro, it is not. That is a AAA as fuck game, insanely polished, insanely like figured out, but they stuck with their vision, right? And it clearly was supposed to be a PS2 homage game the entire time.
Well, I think those are, and I'm happy to go very deep on this. I think if I think about a team's execution on a game, we had a creative vision, and did we realize that vision through the game that we created?
It's talking about it
now. That's
now.
not a delay question if the answer is no. Like, you can't take something that you started on. This isn't a Redfall specific conversation, right? But we will build games that review in the high 80s, and we will build games that review in the 60s. I mean, it's just kind of part of being in game publishing. And if you're afraid of that, then you shouldn't be in the entertainment business. You shouldn't be in the games business. That said, every time we deliver something below our own internal expectations that surprises us, we should check our process. I don't look at the review scores on Redfall, and there are quality issues, and we're working on those. But I think there's a fundamental piece of feedback that we get that the game isn't realizing the creative vision that it had for its players. That doesn't feel like a, hey, just delay it. That feels like the game had a goal to do one thing. And when players are actually playing, they're not feeling that thing. They're not feeling the creative execution of the team. When a game needs to be delayed, what we did with Halo, we did with Starfield, we did with Redfall, because the production timeline is saying we have this vision and our production timelines don't get us to the completion of that vision, we do delay games. We do that. Learning about the quality, there are clearly...
Just using Redfall as an example, I don't feel like it was until this year, and this game has been shown off, I don't know for how many years, right? It never really looked interesting or good. I'm just going to be brutally honest. It never looked like a premium game in any way, and it essentially comes out and reviews the way it always looked. Like the issue with that is I don't feel like I ever even realized it's a Destiny-like until this year. Until like soon before it came out. We're like, wait a minute, that's what the game actually is? I thought it was like Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead with vampires. Like, no, it's not that at all. What? I see a ton of people in chat. It's a Destiny-like? Yes, it's a Destiny-like with vampires and shit. And that's like the weird. So it starts to like bring you back where it's like, was it always supposed to be that? Was that the plan from the very beginning? Because I definitely didn't get that impression very early on. I definitely didn't get that impression from any of the trailers that have ever shown up or anything like that.
I've seen them. I know there are bugs in Redfall that's launching. But when I look at like the crash rates on the game, because we get all the telemetry of everything that's happened, it's not out of proportion for a game that has just launched. It's kind of in the pocket of what we would expect. That's not to deny any of the animation, streaming of texture bugs, the AI bugs that we've seen. We will go work on those. But when I look at the review scores of this game, it's did we have enough of creative differentiation in our core idea? And did we realize that creative ambition? I'm a huge supporter of Arcane Austin. Their track record is awesome. I love a lot of the great games that they've built. This is one where the team didn't hit their own internal goals when it launched. I think it's maybe a little simplistic to just say, hey, if you would have just delayed it 3 months, the core creative of the game would have delivered on something that was different than what it was. So I look at them at different camps. If there's a production timeline issue, we've been open to delaying. If we just have more bugs than we should have at the end of a game, we're open to delaying. At some point, we have to have a creative vision and put the game out, and reviewers and players will tell us what they think.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, of course. Please, Gary.
So I have just a couple of small observations and then a question. First of all, I want to give Phil props for coming on here today and talk just for a minute about why I admire Phil, because he and I have been here before. Back in 2020 during the pandemic when I was doing Animal Talking, Phil, you'll remember this. Phil was booked to come on my dumb Animal Crossing talk show, and then after he was booked, the news came that Halo Infinite was going to be delayed and would not ship with the Xbox Series X and S. And it was you'll remember, it was a big deal. There was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth and people rending their garments. And I was fully prepared for the other shoe to drop. I was waiting for a call from Xbox PR, from Jeff, your friend of mine, Jeff, over in Xbox PR, to say, Phil's not going to be able to come on the show live because, it's a big mess right now. We don't want to put him in the firing line for that. And Jeff called, and I thought, here it is. Here comes the other shoe. And he was like, Phil just wants to know, when's the tech rehearsal? It's going ahead. And he came on a live talk show and took a bunch of tough questions on a really tough subject and took it on the chin. And I've always admired him for that, for not...
Granted, that's essentially why we're watching right now. That's why this is fascinating, is that you would get essentially the lead folks behind all of this decision-making ready to own up to their responsibilities, which is... not very common for people of that position to do this stuff. Like, these are people that make a ridiculous amount of money doing this shit. But this is now the second time of owning up that, yeah, we fucked up. And that's, I actually want to hear what they have to say about this because of it.
It's been very easy for him to pull out, and he didn't. He came on and he's doing it again now. and I salute Phil for that. The other point I want to make is that every time, there may be some Sony platform warriors out there right now crowing about the fact that Redfall has underperformed. I just want to point this out as a creative. Every time somebody takes a big bet, especially a big AAA bet on an original idea, a new IP, and it fails, everybody suffers. It's bad for everybody because it makes it that much harder for the Phils and the Jim Ryans of the world, the big, the creative, the decision makers, to take a chance on them. Oh, but the last time we did that, it didn't work. Like maybe let's just make a sequel to the next thing, or let the algorithm tell us what to do. So every time somebody takes a risk on something new, and especially if it involves something different in game design, let's try something that has been done before and it doesn't work, it hurts everybody. So I just want everyone to be clear, this sucks for everybody. And I see it in my business, I see it in Hollywood, I see it in film and television.
The only thing he's saying about Redfall being new, Chet, even though a lot of individual elements of the game are not new, what he's specifically saying is that it's not like another Dishonored. It's not specifically that. It's not name, brand, and association attached to previous IPs. It is a new IP. Is anything in this new IP interesting or good? No. It's not specifically revolutionary or anything like that from everything that's been seen so far. It's not. But it is a new IP, right? And being a new IP is... comes with a certain set of challenges, and you have to be different than the previous games in some way. You can't just be like another Dishonored, you have to try something different. So that's the challenge that comes with that, is getting people on board with that shit, even though it's not what they normally do.
It's why so much content is so generic and derivative and formulaic, because everyone's afraid to take a risk. And when something new succeeds, it's good for everyone. When something new and original fails, it's bad for everyone. So I just want to acknowledge that this is like a big shit sandwich, and we all have to take a bite, including the Sony people, including everybody. Specifically with sorry, this is a long time. Specifically with a question for Phil, I want to talk specifically about Redfall. When you say that you're disappointed in the reaction, that to me suggests that the reaction was something different than what you were expecting, what you were hoping for. But I know that when these big AAA games, they get subjected to all kinds of internal testing. Focus groups come in. There are third-party companies that will come in and even write like mock reviews or it comes like hit detection out that will tell you, here's what you can expect the press to make of your game. So usually you've got a sense of what the game is going to, how it's going to be received before it's released, so you can be prepared for it. So Phil, when you say you're disappointed, does that mean that you thought the game was going to be better received, or was it in line with expectations? How surprised were you by the reaction, or how, like, internally, how much do you know? I feel like this one, people we know the game it has problems. Like, to what extent was this different from what you expected? And also, and sorry, I know I've been talking a long time. And the second part of that is, when a game is released now, it's not like the old days when a cartridge was shipped in a box and the release of the game was the end of the game's like development cycle. Now it's just the 1.0 release is just a point on the roadmap. To what extent, given that what we're talking about here is not just 30 frames, but design issues, things that may be more conceptual, to what extent do you think, or are you committed to continuing to work on the game and getting it maybe a year down the road, Cyberpunk, No Man's Sky, we've seen these redemptive stories in the past. To what extent do you hold out hope that you can still get the game closer to where you wanted it to be at launch? I know that was a lot.
No, well, at first I thought your words about creative ambition of teams, you especially, I mean, you've lived this, you've done this, are very well said and very spot on. So thank you for that. And that's why I love your voice in this community, because you've created, you've seen kind of ups, and as anybody in the industry, we've all seen downs. And on the score, yeah, we do mock reviews for every game that we launch, and this is like double digits lower than we thought we would be with this game went through our mock reviews. And
then there's the problem. Immediately, if Phil can take away one thing from this, there's a problem, right? Where if you aren't getting producers or higher ups or these mock reviews essentially giving you the information you need, which is like, what is this actually going to review? Put this in the hand of somebody that is not going to bullshit you. Yeah, it seems like bullshit. It seems like they're just if that's what's going on, are they just yes manning? Because we can't say it's bad. you know, then there's a problem. It's like almost as Microsoft is too big for this shit. Oh no, we're like worried about losing our jobs if this is going to be, if we say this is bad type shit. There's a problem. Like you need to figure out if this is fucking good. You know, if they were anticipating this was going to review in the 80s or something like that, if it was going to get like their typical like 80 to 90 or something, then there's clearly an issue here. If the higher ups are looking at this product and going like, oh yeah, sure, this is going to fly. People are super cool with this. This is going to be great. What? Like, what the fuck?
That's what's one.
Yeah, like echo chamber problems, you know, where it's just, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Right? That makes a lot of sense where nobody's challenging them at higher level because people are worried about losing their jobs and shit. Yeah, people, worried that like you could see the potential here instead of, oh yeah, this is ready to go. You know, there might be a communication problem there where it's like, no, this clearly needs more work. It isn't done. It's an idea, you know?
Disappointing things. Like we would never strive to launch a game that we thought was going to review in the low 60s. It's not part of our goals. If you look at our review scores over the last year, it's not a defense at all. If you look at the review scores over the last year, I think the teams have done a better job in upping the level of quality of the games that we've shipped. Some of those games first shipped on PlayStation, but still, when I go through the list of the games, you still have to build a game, you still have to ship a game. And this game was significantly below our internal metrics in terms of where it actually reviewed. But that's not on anybody but us. Like, we have to own that. In terms of our commitment to the game, absolutely. The team at Arcane is on taking the near-term feedback. We're still working on the 60 frames per second. We have a good timeline for that. We're committed to getting that done. And we're going to continue to work the game. I think we've shown a commitment to games like Sea of Thieves and like Grounded to continue to go and build games. But I also know that these games are $70, and I'm not gonna I'm gonna take full responsibility for launching a game that needs to be great. You know, I think what I have with the Xbox community, what I am a part of, is a team. There's still questions that pop every so often of how committed is the company to this category. When are we just going to push Xbox out of the market? There's a lot of Twitter firing of Phil right now, which is fine. I'm way overpaid for the role I have anyway. So I get that's my responsibility. But we will remain committed to the game and the players as long as the players want to go play games. And that's my commitment to the community. I'm kind of at a low point right now in terms of my delivery on that commitment to the community. But it very much stays. I want to support the team. I want to support the creative ambitions of the teams, and I want to support the players. And we let a lot of people down this week with the launch of the game, but we will continue to strive on. You have to, right? That's what creative is about.
And this is and what he's saying is right, but it's like he's at the very top, right? You got to think of like where Phil is and like Matt Booty and all these guys that are essentially responsible for Xbox. They're at the very fucking top, you know? So do these things all essentially make their way to them? Absolutely not. They are so fucking busy figuring out this Activision bullshit and all this other stuff. These guys are insanely busy. So what is below them? A layer, and then another layer, and then another layer, and then another layer, and possibly another layer, and then maybe the developers after that. Right? So there's so much that it's going to get through all of these layers, and it's like, oh, it's cool. 3 layers up, everyone's fucking cool with it. Sure, looking great. Everyone's telling Phil and Matt, it's looking good. We're launching. We're predicting 80s in the review space, you know, 70s to 80s. Like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Let's go. Like, it isn't like Phil is here testing the games himself, right? He's essentially taking responsibility for the layers that are below him at a huge fucking company like Microsoft Games that, okay, yeah, something is fucked up here, and he has to take responsibility for it. So I think Phil, in this situation, is taking precedence different than any CEO I've ever seen for a company, probably next to Iwata, right? Which is very important that this is here because, granted, they're pretty busy with other shit going on as of right now, but there's still an issue that these layers that are on top of shit are a big problem. And it's something is happening between the communication of the developers to the producers, to the higher ups of the producers, to the executives of those producers, to eventually the top or higher up that, you know, something is not working out. Like the game is not what we're expecting it to be, even though people are saying it's great.
No, you absolutely do. And to kind of start transitioning this into hopefully more happy news, but I do want to address something, you know, around that. Obviously, today you announced the...
Yeah, Phil gets paid so much fucking money, he doesn't need to take any shit, but he does. That's important. That's like infallible when it comes to, or sorry, invaluable when it comes to a position like this where you have to be one-to-one with your audience, you know? Like it's very good. That's why he's paid. Buddy, no. No. You are thinking absolute ass backwards of capitalist America. Absolutely not. You get paid all this money and you dump it on the person that's below you, right? You make it their responsibility. This isn't my fucking fault. It's the people. To be honest, it isn't really Phil's fault. It's the people below him. Somebody's fucking up in the layers below. Some shit is going on down there that is like not working out. So make them take care of it. That is the way corporate America fucking works, right? That's the way our corporatist society works and has been working. So the fact that you get some people like this that are doing things differently is not a knock on them. That is a very alien concept in this situation.
Xbox Game Showcase, which will be happening this June. And obviously there's going to be a lot of new reveals and surprises that come out of that, which is great. But I am going to bring it back again to another common theme that I do hear through the community. And I've actually said this to you in the past, but it's about communication coming from Xbox. I do feel back in 2021, you did a fantastic job with communication, which arguably has been the best year during this current generation of Xbox. Obviously, we know that 2022 was a light year for Xbox as far as releasing titles. Now, last year, during the showcase, you had the 12-month plan. You didn't necessarily deliver on all the games coming.
No, we didn't deliver. Not necessarily. We didn't deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. So my point of bringing that up is this, you know, talking about some of the lessons learned that come out of that. And obviously, even with not every game making the 12 months, going back to, again, you know, game development, things happen. Things aren't always going to come on time. But as we go into this showcase, one of the common themes that I hear is I don't know enough about things that you've announced in the past, like even more specifically going back to 2020. And I'll just run down a quick list of it. Vowed, Perfect Dark, Everwild, which is something we really don't know that much about.
Wasn't Everwild the other Rare game? The weird ass Rare game where I don't even know what the hell it is. Like weird animals and adventuring and shit. Yeah.
Fable, State of Decay 3, Contraband. Obviously, we've seen a little more in Hellblade 2. You know, we have studios like In Exile and Compulsion Games that we know are working on things, but we haven't seen any real updates on that. So I titled all my questions Balance and Communication, because even in this, it's like, what is that balance on when you show something that you know is going to be years down the road, and kind of that cadence of providing updates along the way. And obviously, as we go into this showcase, not that you need to reveal anything specific here, but what were some of those lessons learned from last year's showcase that you'll bring into this one?
It's a good question, because this is a lot of the industry nowadays, you know? Like this is essentially boiling back to the idea that games just take so fucking long to make now. You know, like if you want to see a sequel to something come out, your bitch ass is going to have to wait half a decade. And it doesn't feel like it was that long ago since Spider-Man, but it was. You know, it's going to take half a decade to get a sequel to something, and it's just like, Jesus, man. And that's just the cost of modern game development. You just require 10 times the amount of people to put something together. So that's not even really like an issue concerning with Xbox. It's an issue just in general. The bigger question is like, when do you choose to show something off? When do you start hyping up the crowd? Like Square Enix has been notoriously awful at this since the mid 2000s, you know? And even the fact that Final Fantasy 16 is about to come out and it was announced 3 years ago is crazy. Like, it has been 2 decades, bro. Like, that shit is fucking it's genuinely insane. No Final Fantasy game 12 and all that shit they've been delayed. They were delayed so much. 12, 13 and 15 took fucking forever for those shits to come out. And the idea that, oh yeah, 16 was announced a few years ago, now it's actually going to come out. It feels like that was a long time, but fuck, that is crazy. So in Microsoft's situation, how long ago was it when they just started eating everybody? Right? How long has it been since they essentially started scooping up everyone and their mother and started like buying shit out like crazy? They pretty much began their Roman Empire takeover like around 2017, 2018-ish, you know? So it's starting to make a bit of sense that we're likely going to see the fruits of a lot of those efforts around now-ish, you know, that like around this time frame, unless shit is really, because not everything should be a fucking Final Fantasy VII remake or like a Final Fantasy 15, dude. Like if all your projects are like that, that's a big problem, you know. So there really should be some. I mean, granted, COVID's a big deal, but even with that, like with that headway, there's still a lot of time in between there where we should at least be getting big updates on stuff and start figuring out like what's going on. So granted, like Starfield, all these games, like these games have been in development for a hell of a long time, even potentially before acquisitions and shit. Hi-Fi Rush was absolutely in development for a hell of a long time, way before its acquisition. So they essentially were like 75% done with the game by the time they got bought out. And the remaining 25%, Microsoft is like, oh, well, you're already pretty much done with this shit? All right, we'll just keep going, you know? That makes sense, because Hi-Fi Rush is not a small game. That shit, I think they said it had been in development as soon as Evil Within 2 was done. And they pretty much went right into Hi-Fi Rush. So it's like, what, 2018-ish? Something like that? So anyway. You would think that, like, with that huge amount of time, that there would be a decent amount of, like, eventual recompense where we're going to start seeing what's going on. And it just really isn't happening. Like I said, it still blows my mind that we have not seen Hellblade 2 after that one conceptual like in-game trailer, and that was it.
Yeah, and you might try to get me on positive. I'm not in positive mode this week, so I'll apologize for staying in kind of cranky mode. But in terms of lessons learned, and I'll even go back to the Redfall videos on IGN of showing videos of the game running at 60 on PC, at the point knowing that the game was going to run 30 frames per second at launch on console. Like, we have to be transparent about what we're showing, that what we're showing is representative of what our console customer, our most committed customer to our brand, financially committed, what they're going to see, what they're going to play, and that transparency just has to get better. And I'm not pointing at anybody but myself, right? And you know, I guess at some point I will have enough knocks against me that it's somebody else here. But you know, that I think it's transparency in what we're building, what our aspiration is for the game, what it's going to look like, what the features are. And it drives me crazy when we self-inflicted wounds of kind of putting things out there of communication that's confusing or misleading about what the actual end product is going to be. So you can try to take me to positive space. I'm just not in that headspace right now.
So, and yeah, like this is a weird situation, you know? For a game to like be visually like Redfall, which, what is it, like an Unreal 3 game? Like what the hell is it even running on? For it not to be like, is it UE4? Okay. For it not to be visually striking, right? Like it doesn't really come across as something that is beautiful looking, like, ever. It's got some interesting, you know, like, I think there's like some shots of the world and it scales pretty well, which is kind of cool. But like, how the hell does a game that looks that way perform so bad? And to me, it just comes across as like, we either have people that are insanely inexperienced working on some of this stuff, or the wrong people are in the wrong positions. Like there's something going on. There's no reason it should be that way. Like, how did it get to this way? Maybe, like, I don't, that's such a weird, with the power of what these systems is capable of, that's really fucking weird. And yeah, granted, maybe not enough time to optimize, like all of that kind of stuff, like for sure. Not enough QA, like, I don't know, man. But that even a game performing that poorly is pretty, this is not a normal situation.
Said, when I go and I look at Showcase, and I'm not going to try to oversell Showcase here, because I if I were on the other side of watching this, it's like, hey, after Redfall, I'm going to put my hands on the controller, and that's what's going to take to kind of prove to me. But that's not what Showcase is. So I'm very enthusiastic about Showcase. We're going to announce some things that people haven't seen, some new games. We're going to give updates to some of the things that were on your list. The other thing that gets me really excited is when I look forward over the next quarters, which has always been my focus of how do we get a big game out every quarter at quality, that things are lining up finally after some of the slowdown through COVID. I'm tired of talking about that. But I can now see that we've got games coming every quarter that I think will surprise and delight our customers. We still have to deliver on the creative. We still have to deliver on the technical.
Everybody's saying KI, like, please, fucking please. But here's the funny thing is that even if it is KI and it's going through the same like weird management problems, here's the unfortunate reality that I have to propose to you guys, that I need to remind you of every once in a while, that Killer Instinct was a lightning in a bottle situation made for pennies, essentially made on the backs of some of the most talented of the industry conveniently in one place to execute an idea and bring back a franchise. How do I know all this? I was fucking there. I was in their offices like every single week after E3, like seeing what they were doing, and they were practically using me as a primer of gauge of interest of what we doing is cool. And luckily, yes, a lot of the shit they were doing was super fucking cool, and it was coming along at a blistering speed. It was insane. I was there 3,000 years ago, Gandalf. So that kind of like a relationship, that kind of a situation is almost impossible. You're not going to get lightning to strike twice. You're just not. You're not going to get the same perfect storm of people in the right spot. The best thing you're going to get is another team. No, I was not QA. I was not QA. I wasn't even fucking consultant. I did that shit for free. I drove 3.5 hours down to fucking Irvine because they wanted me on board just to check shit out. I got paid nothing for that shit. I just wanted them to produce something that was amazing. And yes, they got my feedback. So I was just down. Eventually, I convinced them that, oh, I could make you guys trailers, and then that got me a job making trailers. So that was different, right? That was actually months down the line. But what those guys were doing, I just pretty much convinced them this is great. Like, we're gonna pitch this Counterbreaker thing to Microsoft. What do you think? And it's like, fucking, this is fucking great. And even later on, there were some moments where shit was promoted where they would just see what Max thinks about it. Like, funny enough, when Iron Galaxy was happening, when I was working on the story mode, they would do some weird thing and they would ask, what does Max think about it? Like, and then they would report, Max thinks this looks stupid. When they went to the Microsoft guys, and yes, at some points in Killer Instinct's development, this isn't all coming through me, but they would take that feedback and be like, this shit is not working, change it. And shit did change. You do not even know, chat, what some characters might have looked like before they came out. What we got is absolute gold in comparison to that shit. So there was a lot of people able to give feedback, is all I'm saying. It wasn't just me. I was backed by other creative folks that were trying to get their ideas across, and they were like, no, this also sucks. We need to do something. And then they would eventually like get it to me. And because I am not employed by anybody, I would be brutally fucking honest. Like, this is not good type of shit. So it would luckily change. To the behest of a lot of people, because it meant other people had to do a lot of work, but it was essentially what people felt, you know? So I don't know. I feel like you kind of need folks in those situations to, I'm not going to specifically talk about the specifics of any of this stuff because it wasn't actually 10 years ago yet. But yes, like, you need people to fight back on shit. It's a creative process, and your individual ideas aren't always the best. Same thing it was with my ideas. Like, sometimes they just weren't good and they didn't come through because it just didn't make any sense. But you need people to fight back, and it just feels like that might not be a big part of Microsoft's current corporate structure. right? It just might not be a big part of all the levels we were talking about of people fighting back on shit, where it's just like, you know what? My job is on the line if this shit doesn't work out. So let's change it, you know? Let's actually fucking change it.
Not every game we ship is for everybody. We know that. Like, I don't want to build, I'm not trying to build the one game to rule them all. We will have different creative takes and we have a very diverse portfolio when you think about the stuff that Microsoft Game Studios builds. But I like that. I think for what we're trying to do as Xbox, which isn't to mimic any of the other platforms out there, it's create our own brand and identity. The diversity of what we build, hopefully will end up being a strength. But we have to do it at quality. We have to do it on time. And we have to show people what they're actually going to see. We have to show gameplay. And I think I'm kind of beyond that. Like, we've got to put great games in the hands of our players. There's nothing else.
It's great.
If I could follow up on that, and I apologize, I do not want to dominate the conversation, but I make sure I want to follow up on the point of everything that you just said. And I'll take it from a personal standpoint. I've been a big believer in what Xbox has been building since about 2016, right? Xbox Play Anywhere, Game Pass, what you're doing with the Series X and S, just the cloud initiative, everything. I love all the services and the marketing message that you present to the community. But to your point, and for me personally, I have Game Pass. My kids play it. We all love it. But you even mentioned, delivering quality experiences every quarter, things like that. That's the sentiment that we get from the community right now. That's the sentiment that I even have of, it's great to talk about these things. I think we've been talking about them ad nauseum. It's like, when are we going to get to that point of actually delivering these experiences? Like I just ran down those games. There's 20 something studios, forget Activision, Xbox Game Studios, what it is today. There's more than enough studios and titles out there that we're all anticipating. And I think that is the common frustration that I see out there from people, that it's like, we're tired of hearing wait till next year. And I know you know that, but
I know,
it's like,
I know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This year started out well.
Yeah, yes, it
Developer Direct was received well. The team did a really good job, I thought, with the messaging around to your point, around setting expectation. And I will even say, yes, I'm rooting for the home team here, but I'll say over delivering on expectations of that show versus what it was. I think the drop of Hi-Fi to say, hey, if you've got Game Pass, you don't even have to buy the game. Like, just go click. People loved Hi-Fi. Something we don't talk a lot about, that same month, Age 2 on console shipped. Truth be told, more people are playing a bunch of people are playing Hi-Fi and Age 2, but Age 2 actually has more players right now. But all the fanfare goes to the highly rated kind of new Hi-Fi. Get that. I know the review scores on Minecraft Legends. Minecraft, I think, always reviews somewhere kind of different than the top. But if I look at the reaction, I think we've already had over 3 million people playing. I saw, like, its launch week, it was the #1 retail game on the Switch in Japan, which isn't always where Microsoft sits in terms of sales. So I feel like
Age of Empires 2 console
is building, and then something like Redfall happens, and the Xbox community should demand a lot from.
So, and here's what this is a good point. Their year hasn't been super bad, right? They've actually hit some pinnacles that are pretty good, but Microsoft games just generally have a tough time reaching the higher end of the review status. They do. They generally don't review super high, like a high 80s or something like that, or like a low 90s, like some PlayStation titles do, or some first-party Nintendo titles. It's just kind of the way it is. The weirdness of this situation is that it's really low, like, and it's painfully clear why it is so low whenever you just watch the game being played, you know. And that's if this is a game that is like clearly from one of your premium studios, clearly Premium Studio has been putting out premium shit that people love. Here's our new Premium Studio shit. And then it just comes out and it doesn't hit any of the ways it needs to, and it's super expensive. Then that is where there's a blow up, right? It's like, why is suddenly Microsoft a total shit show because of this one game that technically never ever looked good? And it's because that well, does that mean that everything else that the studio is going to make is going to be the same thing? You know, does that mean when they eventually do make Dishonored 3 or whatever, it's going to be, is that just going to be just as bad? Oh shit. So now there's like an era, like a sort of like wafting funk of, oh god, like this studio used to be fucking amazing. Maybe the next things they put out because of their acquisition with Microsoft makes them not look so good. Maybe now the next games that come out aren't going to be good. Now there's this wafting funk of like doubt, because most of the shit that they put out before this was pretty fucking good. Granted, it's Arcane Austin, but it's still Arcane in general, right? It's still like, this is the company that produces these games that are pretty highly reviewed and people love. So people are curious about that shit. I haven't even fucking played them, but I just know that they have this, you know, Prey and Dishonored are games that are very, 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 like, highly sought after in general. So I don't know. It just feels like there's now like a lot of concern of like, uh-oh, so what is going to happen after this, you know?
From us as a team, where we sit inside of Microsoft, we've got the resources to do better.
Did Arcane also do Deathloop? Was that Arcane? It was. Shit. That was also Arcane. I forgot about that.
22 was, as you said, a very light year, I think is what you said. I might have other words for it. And then 2023, we started well, and this was a knockback. But it's our job to go and deliver on the next games. I can only look forward, right? I can sit here and wallow in my own frustration. But all I can do is say, I'm going to do better tomorrow than I did yesterday, and continue to support the teams and continue to grow. But yeah, I think it is ours to prove that. I can say now, and everybody can already stop, I don't want to hear what Phil has to say about the future, and I kind of fully respect that point of view, that we've got Starfield coming, we've got Forza coming, we've got Hellblade coming, like we've got collections of games. I'm seeing very good builds of Avowed and stuff, like we're in, like I can see it. But until you have a controller in your hand and you're smiling from playing our games, none of my words should matter.
Shout out to Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey is the easy way to save when shopping.
Yeah, I mean, granted, this is a lot of PR speak from Phil, but this isn't the typical PR speak that you're used to in this industry, right? Where what is the typical PR speak? A script, right? You're essentially getting bulletin points and all this stuff that you have to now take to your investors type stuff, which is like, your investors now are Game Pass users, right? And this is a bit different than just like selling people a game. It isn't that. It's essentially the CEO coming out and just being insanely direct about what's going on. Yeah, PR speak is like a twit longer or some shit, you know, like a multi-Twitter or something. This is very different, which is why I think I'm not celebrating the fact that Microsoft is doing bad. I mean, I got over the console wars when I was like, you know, a very young teenager. So that aspect of it isn't interesting to me anymore. What's interesting is that I want Microsoft to make fucking dope games. I just want really sick games that I would love to play as well. And right now they have one, right? Right now it's like Killer Instinct is the one that I hope comes out and is really fucking cool. But I would like there to be other things, you know, which is why I've always wanted them to go to Japan. And that's always been a big focus of Phil's, is to get Japanese developers and stuff. It feels like he gets it, right? Oh God, Phil gets it, but he's essentially responsible for the biggest fucking company, one of the biggest companies ever. And these guys don't know what to do with their money. Like it truly feels like Microsoft as a conglomerate just throws money at like a wall and hopes shit sticks. Oh no, sorry. Throws money in the dark at a wall and just hopes shit will stick. And hey, maybe we need to get like devs or something like that. We'll just fill it with devs, throw money at it. And it's just like, well, that's not really how creative things happen. I mean, what you get as a result of that is essentially Disney live action movies, you know? So it's like some of the most talented people ever in the industry executing something fucking awful. So I don't know. Like I just really, really hope that this isn't the future of the company, because the last thing I would kind of want to see is for Phil to piece out of this shit just because he can't execute any of this stuff.
Or wasn't even the only game to stumble out of the gate this week. Look at the PC version of Jedi Survivor. What a mess. Unacceptable that game shipped in the state that it was. And they must have known. It was, oh, geez, the game has bugs. No, you knew, and you shipped it anyway. So EA Respawn, for example, even on a massive title like that, it's going to be a Game of the Year contender. We all know that. But like the PC version was unacceptable. My understanding is the PlayStation version's a bit of a mess as well. So we're still seeing this stuff happening on the regular. Just in general, when things, I'm fascinated.
It seems to be happening more than ever right now, right? Just in general, like PC versions of games, you're essentially running the coin toss of it working, right? The absolute coin toss of it being like a functioning product that won't suck. You know, Dead Space by comparison had issues for sure, but you could at least play it and it looked good outside of its like weird hitching. At least it worked. Dead Space looks like a functioning game ready to go by comparison to what has happened with some of these fucking PC games that have happened over the last year. God bless Capcom. Mind you, they weren't always free of this. RE Engine games had weird stuttering problems and shit like that, but you know, thank God some of Capcom's ports have been pretty fucking good.
As you might know, I'm fascinated by the subject of failure because I've experienced a lot of it in my own career and in my personal life as well, and I think about it a lot. The number one quote that I stole from a person much smarter than me, I talk about it all the time when I talk about writing at creative seminars and things like that, is failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. But that's only true if you can get past feeling sorry for yourself when something fails and sift through the rubble and start figuring out, well, what can we learn? What can we learn from this failure? What can we take from this? What is teachable? And so I wanted to ask Phil, both in general and in the case of Redfall, I know you said you were going to work in towards kind of turning the game around, but like, do you have a formal process, and what does it look like in the case of Redfall?
Team Ninja games are weird on PC.
Expectations? What is it something you get into right away, or do you wait for the dust to settle? What is the post-mortem process? What is the what went wrong, and how do we prevent this from happening again process look like at Xbox?
It's almost like the hero console now is clearly like PlayStation. Most games now are made for PlayStation like 5, right? And it's almost like that structure of how games are made now for PS5 is resulting in the PC versions to suck. Like it's a bit different than even the PS4 era, which is, you know, would make sense because there's just more shit going on, more stuff you have to do. You have to load stuff faster. You have to data stream quicker. There's just too many other permutations that'll fuck shit up, you know?
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think I love your quote, Gary. I might lift that from you. Welcome back to the stage of history. People don't have to care about this, but I'll talk about it. When we acquire studios, there's games that are in development when we acquire a studio, and then there's things that are either really early in development or not even conceived yet. And I think we need to improve on engaging in games that are midway through production when they become part of Xbox. I do think there's a different expectation for a game and even a team when you've been third party and all of a sudden you become part of first party. There's a different expectation in terms of how you're going to perform on our console. I think there's a different competitive set when people look at what this game is and the other games that they're going to say, hey, I want this game to feel as competitive as this other game on another console platform in our case. And we didn't do a good job early on in engaging with Arcane Austin to really help them understand what it meant to be part of Xbox and part of first party. And
some of the devs in the stream were talking about how one of the biggest factors with latest hardware is the direct IO that I'm assuming PS5 and Xbox Series X have with storage, which doesn't really exist on PC. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes a lot of sense, right? Which is why there's so many weird... You get this game come out now and you have like a fucking 4090 and whatever you throw at it, it just doesn't help because it's not designed to operate that way. But that can't be like a thing that is like recent, right? Because SSD usage and all this kind of shit, like, you know, the modern SSDs that are on PlayStation, these things have been utilized for a while. There's definitely something else weird that's going on with a lot of modern games, and why they just don't functionally just run way better on PC.
Use some of our internal resources to help them and kind of move along that journey even faster. So we kind of left them to go work on the game. They're a very talented team. I love that team, and I still do, and I will totally bet on them to do another great game. But when like Matt Booty and Jamie Leaders, running ZeniMax, and I sit down, I think we can engage earlier with our different studios. And I do think there's a difference when we come in when the creative's already set on a game. That's not washing our hands of any of the creative. Every game we ship from our teams is an Xbox game. And so it's a full responsibility for it. But thinking about how our internal processes.
Yeah, don't want to. I mean, Matt Booty, right? He's actually been along the Xbox round for a very long time. Largely is the guy responsible for giving like the green light to KI in general, most likely. So he'll always have, like, I don't know him personally, but I do know that he was definitely a big contributing factor when it came to future updates, as well as, are we going to keep supporting this game? Are we going to keep going after the beginning of it? I'm pretty sure all that kind of stuff had to get approved from him, right? That had to go through them. And to allow the budget and all that kind of stuff, they had confidence in it, which is great.
Of dev assistants, even some of our internal ATG resources, which is the Advanced Technology Group, and how those work with our internal teams. I think we can do a better job with our internal teams. We did a better job with Starfield. Again, nobody should believe it until they're playing the game, but that game was earlier on in production, and it was easier for us to kind of swarm a bunch of people to go and kind of help with some of the technology on our platform and ensure that we're going to ship a quality experience there. And
here's the funny thing is that Starfield's not going to be any better Starfield's not going to be any better, but it's going to review ridiculously well. You know what I mean? Because Starfield is just going to be a Fallout 4 situation, right? Where everything's fuck busted and weird, because for some reason Bethesda fans are cool with that. And they always have been, which is odd. So I don't know. It's like people actively love Bethesda jank, you know? Fallout 76, dude, no, Fallout 4's launch was fucking funky. Fallout 76 was a complete fuck up, right? That was like, there was no returning, there was no people that were going to back that shit up, even the most hardcore of Fallout fans, and they eventually turned that into something good from what I understand. But Fallout 4 at launch was a mess. Like, it was sloppy as shit looking. I could not watch a stream, because this is something like, do I want to play this? I cannot watch a stream of Fallout 4 without watching something fucking sloppy happening, where it's like, that's how you do that, and people are just cool with it for some fucking reason, because that's the expectation that has been set up. My only concern now is the Bethesda jank, because now they're owned by Microsoft, right? This actually might become as a detriment to Microsoft, where they're going to essentially associate what is going to be Starfield Fallout jank, Bethesda jank, because the game is just Fallout in space for the most part. If people are going to associate that with being now a Microsoft problem, because no, this is Bethesda. This is the way all these fucking games are, bro. So I don't know. I still think the game, regardless of how it comes out, is going to review well, but it's not good timing that, like, a game comes out inherently janky, and a lot of people are being really critical right now, and then later this year they're going to have a game that's coming out almost like intentionally janky. Because it's not, trust me, does anyone have any confidence that Starfield is going to launch and it's all going to work and it's going to be wonderful and it's going to be a polished version of, nobody's confident in that. Like, nobody thinks it's going to work that way.
In the team earlier, I think that's on us. And then through the process, it's an Unreal game. We have a bunch of studios that have done some really great work on Unreal over the years. And I think we were too late to help in that, when they had certain issues that they were working through, which any team will. It's nothing to do with the specific engine, but we have a lot of experience, and we needed to get on that earlier with the team, and we didn't do that. And that's not an excuse. You asked just to kind of diagnose. So when the 60 frames per second issue came up, we were definitely diving in. We had people from the Coalition and people from Rare and stuff looking, both teams that have done some really great work with Unreal to help us build a 60 FPS plan. But obviously that was a plan that had to be in place last fall in order for us to really be in a position to have it at launch. And I take that as learning, as painful as it is. But as you said, it's part of getting to success are those learnings and that diagnosis. There's a bunch of other stuff I could go into, but then we end up with kind of dev doc, which I'm happy to do. But yeah.
Well, Phil, we don't have much time with you, so I'm going to go around the table, give everybody one final question for Phil. I'm going to rattle off a couple quick ones with you, Phil. Of course, we talk about 60 frames, 30 frames. Should Xbox players expect a clear message this summer with Starfield with 30 and 60 frames?
Starfield comes out in the summer? They didn't push it till like winter or fall? Huh. September. Okay, so it's like fall, end of summer, fall-ish. Okay. All right. I was like, is this fucking game coming out in July or some shit? Okay.
That's a big lesson learned, as you brought up. Should we expect that answer? It's clear as day?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one. Another one, you see a lot of conversation, of course. I want to praise you and the team for really elevating the PC side of this Xbox ecosystem. I think we've seen a lot of great strides in that. But when you see the community talk about the console side of things, do you think you've lost the focus or maybe put too much onto the PC side? Do you think that the console is still getting the console love that it deserves, whether it be the homepage update, achievements, of course, looking forward and using the power of this next gen? Do you think you guys have lost that focus, or is it still there, and can we see more love on that side?
Well, we'll definitely continue to focus on making our console experience as great as it can be. I like the homepage refresh and some stuff. I will say, this might be disruptive as well. We have a different vision. Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset.
It's smart because they'll, after Xbox One, that'll never happen again, right? Unfortunately, what they did with the Xbox One era will prevent that from ever being a reality. They got there. They were there before. Xbox 360 era, they were there, man. And the majority of that console generation, 360 fucking reigned supreme. So asking like that kind of success again is just not gonna happen. Unless there's some severe... Well, they burned so many bridges on Xbox One. I don't know, man. It's hard to even tell what the hell's gonna happen. But I think their route, their plan for what they're doing here with Game Pass, everything else, it is genuinely like the best for the consumer. And that's the thing. Do I get much out of the current selling factor of Xbox? Do I get much out of it? I have all these fucking Xbox systems. I barely ever fucking play them. They really aren't for me, but for the majority of people that are out there that do not have this as like their job, whether we have like infinite money to buy games and shit because this is my job. No, Game Pass makes it possible for people to enjoy a variety of games without spending a shit ton of cash. And for people that can do this stuff, that want to enjoy this stuff, they can do it without needing like a monster PC, or, if they just want to cloud game it and shit like that. Like Simmons is the best testament to this, where he tries a ton of games on Game Pass all the time, where he just browses Game Pass one day to see what the fuck is on it and just looks for something with a decent review or some game he's never tried, and he's just, dang, this is great. It's really fucking cool, man. So that part of it is actually amazing. I will always stand the fuck out of Microsoft's current relationship they have with their consumers. That this is significantly better, right? And even you can't even like, it isn't really even an issue with like Redfall, because yes, some people are going to be bummed out that Redfall might not be what they were looking forward to for expectations. But as an Xbox Game Pass user, how much money did you lose out on Redfall coming out and not hitting your expectations? You didn't. You just still have Game Pass. So that's something that, once again, is over time, if this keeps fucking happening, is going to polarize itself. Eventually, this is going to eat itself. It's going to Ouroboros and eat its own fucking tail, because you're not going to be able to get the goodwill between your user base and your fucking paying like customer service. So they can't keep doing this, right? Right now they have a really good thing going. It's just that they can't keep pumping out these games that are lower in quality, if not are unfinished, because people are just going to be like, well, this fucking Game Pass shit, I don't know anymore, man, because now I'm looking forward to this stuff and shit. Yeah, Redfall's supposed to promote Game Pass. I know. All I'm saying is that you can't keep firing blanks. Eventually, you're going to fire so many blanks and people are just going to start giving up. And what was essentially like a wonderful idea should have been an ecosystem that will fulfill itself and pay for itself, and all these studios are going to be a part of this ecosystem, just going to fucking crumble, you know? It's just not going to work out if things aren't kept in check. You can't just keep throwing money at shit, you know? Eventually, this stuff is going to be like not profitable if this keeps happening. And I don't want that. I do not want that to be the case. I want this shit to be fucking great. And I want there to be things that, you know, fighting games that eventually come out on this shit that are related to me that are now like Game Pass activated. And shit, they're just like, everyone can play this shit at the start if you have Game Pass. That's fucking amazing. Like, it'd be, how incredible would it be if like a new Mortal Kombat came out and it was just on Game Pass? Like, holy, like that kind of shit is amazing. There's so many more people suddenly playing. Anyway, yeah, Strive coming out on Game Pass caused a lot of problems. Mind you, Strive crossplay caused a lot of problems, but still, like, these things are really cool.
A ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will, that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation.
Just talking about it.
Where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go,
everything went digital in the mid 2010s. Everything went digital in that time frame.
And you're building on Xbox. We want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems, and their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen. So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision.
The argument is that even if Xbox made like an 11 out of 10 game, that people would not sell their PS5s. Here's the thing. He's right. In this instance, I think he's not lying. It wouldn't take just 1 or 2 or even 3 like 9/10 out of 10 games to do this shit. But if your first party library reviewed like the fucking PlayStation's first party library did, I think that might change. The problem is that that's insanely hard.
That can meet players on any screen. People play with their friends regardless of what other screen they're on. And the console is the core of the Xbox brand. There's no doubt. So like we will stay focused on making sure that console experience is awesome. But I know some people want to hold us up of just being a better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say, like, there's not a win for Xbox in staying in the wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games. Sorry, I was a little long-winded.
No, that was perfect. And unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to you, Phil. I know that we have a hard out here, but I want to end it with something positive, Phil, because I've gotten cranky, Phil, this whole episode, and I freaking love you, and I appreciate you being on and being hard with us, but I do need something positive out of you, Phil. So before you leave, tell me and the Xbox community something positive that you're looking forward to, that you're playing, anything fun to bring a smile to your face.
Dude, I'm an optimist. Like, you know, I will always see, I'll use this for you, the gap between the trees. I'll always see the fresh pow. Like, this is why I'm here. I love the games that are ahead of us. I'm having a great time playing the games that are available in Game Pass today. I look in Ravenlock coming, Benedict's here. Like, I just love playing video games. One of the things I am excited about is the ROG Ally, something I've got my hands on, if people have had a chance to play with that. And I just love the fact that here's another device that people are going to get to go experience great games on, whether it's your Steam Deck or that or your Xbox. You know, I see the growth in video games. I get to spend time with creators who are excited about the opportunity that they have. I get to go play some amazing games, some of those in Game Pass, some of those not. And I just think the gaming space has never been more diversely creative than it is right now, and it's a privilege to be a part of it.
I love hearing that. Paris, end us with this episode. What do you got to say, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, just a quick statement as we get out of here. First and foremost, Phil, thank you for doing this. This is clearly not the conversation we thought we were going to have when we scheduled this, but we do appreciate your candor and just being 100% honest about the current state of what's going on with Xbox. I am hopeful in the future we can have more conversations about what ID at Xbox is doing in their initiatives, Game Camp New Orleans, things like that are more positive and enabling more creators, because that's what I really wanted to talk about in this episode. But as we go into June, I am looking forward to the showcase. I am looking forward to the reveals that are coming.
Oh, absolutely. Xbox 10 years later is still suffering the fucking blight that Don Matrick put upon the entire company back in the Xbox One era. Still suffering it, you know? What Phil said was 100% true. What had been done to that era of Xbox was insane. So Phil's been given the insurmountable task of bringing this shit back from the dead.